Today we're going to attempt to establish a rough timeline in the Kiely Rodni case. Obviously, this isn't an exact science, but we'll do the best we can to sort this out. Hopefully there will be some information you haven't seen before, and we're not just going over the same information over and over again. Granted, we do need a refresher from time to time, as things oftentimes become stale when we haven't reviewed it for a while. So, let's try to sort this out. Apparently Kiely went to Mexico with Mags and her mom about a week before the party. I've heard two stories, one of which said Lindsay went, and another version that says it was just Kiely, Mags, and her mother. The last actual proof of life captured on camera was on August 1st, on a hidden beach near 1713 Tahoe Boulevard, Incline, Nevada. This is south of Reno, on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe. Here are the last known photos of Kiely. There is still no proof that she was ever at the party on August 5th. In fact, I don't think she was at the party. We were told that her phone pinged at 12:33 a.m. on August 6th. That is what we were told. However, from all of the information that's been given to me, I don't necessarily believe that. I believe it's all part of a cover-up in an attempt to prove this was just an accident, and that Kiely drove herself into the lake the night of the party. These are the pictures taken on the evening of August 1st, and are the last actual proof of life captured on camera. The guy in the pictures is named Gunnar Locke. He is 28 years old, or was at the time this was taken. He is from Alamogordo, New Mexico, and also has connections to Hawaii. My question is, what is a 28-year-old man doing hanging out with 16-year-olds? From what we understand, he wasn't a close friend and could have just been there, seen the girls and went to talk to them. At any rate, it's just strange that a man that age is hanging out with teens. Also, I'm not sure who took these pictures. So far, there is no physical evidence proving Kiely was in Truckee after August 1st. In fact, it seems that Kiely never left Nevada until later. I believe something happened to Kiely around August 1st or shortly thereafter. We'll get into my main theory in a bit. Let me just say that in looking at all of the evidence, it seems that all of the things that happened were an attempt to cover up what happened. I find it quite interesting that this supposed party on August 5th was a reactionary move. The announcement for the party didn't come out until August 4th, one day before the party. You would think that an event like this where you're saying goodbye to all of the seniors would have been planned weeks or even months in advance. But since this announcement didn't come out until the day before the party, makes me think that there's more than meets the eye here. You also notice that it shows two locations for the party: North Tahoe Incline and Truckee. Of course, as stated earlier, the hidden beach at Incline was the last proof of life we have for Kiely. There were several possible sightings of Kiely after the party. I believe that when they were searching for Kiely, her vehicle was not yet in the water. I believe that her vehicle was placed in the water around August 18th or 19th. It was not there during the initial search. The following information is from police CAD records. We do not know if this was her, but according to the information, these were reported to be connected with her. The first known sighting was on August 6th, the morning after the party. This was at Boca Reservoir the morning after the party. This is the one thing that makes me think she might have been at the party on Friday night, and that they had migrated from Prosser to Boca in order to join a larger party at Boca. According to teens who my contacts in Truckee spoke to, they said that the mass exodus from Prosser was because they were all heading to Boca to join the much larger party there. From what my sources in Truckee have told me, this makes sense, because there are large parties at Boca every weekend during the warmer months. However, the one problem I have with that scenario is, Boca is an hour and 13 minutes away from Incline, according to Google Maps. Also, when the search began for Kiely, I find it interesting that Jagger and Kate were searching for her in Reno. Is that because they knew she was in Reno and not at Prosser? If you remember the TV news interview with Jagger, he and Kate were in Reno, and were stating they were searching for her there. Also, Kate had made a statement that Kiely was in Reno before the party at Prosser. In addition, according to other information gathered, it makes more sense that she never left Nevada. Nick, the service driver, stated he was 100% certain that it was Kiely at Boca. However, now I'm beginning to question whether that was really her with the vehicle. But, at the same time, the actions of the female, to me anyway, correspond with how Kiely would react, rather than it being another female who Nick saw. I still haven't totally reconciled this as being factual in my mind. The next known sighting was in August 11th in Reno on Arrow Creek Parkway, saying that there was someone who matched her description. The vehicle was described as a blue minivan. However, the license plate on the vehicle came back to a Nissan Xterra, not a minivan. So my question is, why were they running fictitious plates on the vehicle? Were they plates that they stole off of another vehicle and placed on there? Also, could it be involved with the theft we'll see in a few minutes where a description of Kiely was mentioned? Also, something I need to mention. I'm not exactly sure when this occurred, but Celicia Singh was making a lot of statements about Kiely on social media in the beginning of her disappearance. She had claimed that Kiely was brought to her area in Reno by someone who stated they wanted to rent out her basement. One report I read said that Kiely was accompanied by two men who came to talk to Celicia. Celicia shared some text exchanges between herself and Sammy, and was extremely upset that Kiely was found dead. At the time, I didn't save the exchanges, so I don't have those to show you. However, it was very evident from the conversations that Celicia actually knew Sammy, that Sammy was associated with the traffickers herself, and had implied that Sammy has facilitated a sale involving Kiely. Personally, I truly believe that Lindsay was behind this, and paid Sammy to take care of it for her. When you look at how Lindsay was hugging Sammy, who, according to Sammy's account, abandoned Kiely at the party. When I first saw this, I could not understand how a mother could be so affectionate towards someone who had abandoned her daughter like that. Also, if you remember the one short video that I did where, at the press conference, right before Sammy was to speak, Lindsay made her way onto the platform, hugged Sammy in a very dominant fashion, and whispered something in Sammy's ear. Whatever it was that Lindsay said, it really shook Sammy up, who could hardly talk immediately afterward, and it took her a minute or so to regain her composure. The next possible sighting was on August 14th. You notice they used the term X-ray. That is police jargon for burglary. As we'll see from the next CAD entry, there was apparently a theft from a vehicle or residence, and the vehicle or its occupants were suspects. This call came in at 11:50 a.m. It says related to MUPS, or Missing and Unidentified Persons System. The vehicle was gone on arrival. This next CAD entry is from the same day, August 15th, at 12:27 p.m. It simply states a silver SUV parked on the shoulder, possibly related to the missing person. We see from this next entry that there was a burglary of some sort involved. It shows it was reported as driving by, which I believe indicates the caller was the victim of the burglary and recognized the vehicle. Of course, it's unknown why they drove back by the residence. Possibly there was something else they were planning on taking. At any rate, the caller seems to just be calling saying the suspect vehicle drove by approximately 15 minutes ago. You notice it shows the call type as burglary. The last possible sighting was on August 17th. This was called in just after 7:30 a.m. The call came in as a possible sighting of Kiely's vehicle. If this was her vehicle, this was the last report of Kiely's Honda until it was found by a WP 4 days later, on the 21st. This location on Hirshdale Road is only 4 miles from Boca. The gas station at that location is just off the freeway and would lead directly to Boca. It is also 14 miles from Prosser Reservoir. If we look at the route, the location at Hirshdale is 27 miles from Reno. Then from Hirshdale, it's only another 8 miles to Truckee. So it would make sense that the vehicle would be at this gas station on Hirshdale since it's directly on the way from Reno to Truckee, or Reno to either Boca or Prosser. I believe that Kiely's vehicle was not placed into the water until August 18th or 19th. Also, something else that needs to be mentioned is that Lindsay is very involved with the occult and is part of the Asatru folk cult. Asatru is a pagan religion that stems from Norse mythology. This is taken from the Asatru folk community website, where they explain their declaration of purpose. Asatru is an ancestral religion, one passed down to us from our forebears and thus tailored to our unique makeup. Our gods and our religion have shaped our spirit, individually and as a whole. By our will, we not only survive, but thrive, and continue our upward evolution in the direction of the infinite. Modern Asatru is a reconstructed version of our ancestral practice, adapted to the context of our lives today, but our practice is filled with the spirit of our gods and our ancestors. If the ethnic European folk ceased to exist, Asatru would likewise no longer exist. Let us be clear, by ethnic European folk we mean white people. It is our collective will that we not only survive, but thrive, and continue our evolution in the direction of the infinite. All native religions spring from the unique collective soul of a particular race. Religions are not arbitrary or accidental. Body, mind and spirit are all shaped by the evolutionary history of the group and are thus interrelated. Asatru is not just what we believe, it is what we are. Therefore, the survival and welfare of the ethnic European folk as a cultural and biological group is a religious imperative for the AFA. It is also interesting that the period of August 9th through the 19th are their harvest period holy days. As I stated in a previous video, there was a contact in Truckee who told me her friend, who lives on the south side of Prosser, was able to see rituals being conducted at sanctuary immediately after Kiely went missing, and stopped when Kiely was found. This would correspond with the Asatru holy days and their rituals performed during those dates. Also, Sammy seems to be a part of all this. If you notice, she has a tattoo of the Tree of Life on her chest, which is a very important symbol in the Asatru cult. The very fact she has the tattoo is very significant. Hers is just one variation of this image, which is considered the life for both them, their ancestors, and their gods. They believe that the universe centers around this tree of life and obtains its energy from this tree. Obviously, Sammy is involved with this movement. Also, keep in mind that Celicia Singh said that Sammy was involved in selling Kiely. Some of us are beginning to believe more and more that Kiely was sold for sacrifice, and that it was a completely different person who was placed in her vehicle, than placed into the lake. Another thing to keep in mind is that Lindsay was in Reno the day of the party, on August 5th. She was supposedly attending Hot August Nights, a car show in Reno. It was confirmed by a local newspaper that she was there. According to Lindsay, she returned home around 11 p.m., then went to sleep. She said she woke up around 8 a.m. the next morning and noticed Kiely wasn't there. So what did she do? Did she go looking for Kiely? No. She went to Starbucks to get coffee. She then doesn't even call the police until 5 p.m. the evening of the 6th. Also on the 6th, Jagger supposedly began his search for Kiely in the early morning. Where was he searching? As stated earlier, he was searching around Reno. Why Reno, if she was at Prosser last? It makes no sense, unless we understand that she never left Reno until later. Lindsay didn't even bother searching for her child. She made the excuse that she wasn't qualified for search. She said she'd leave it to the experts. No matter what anyone says or how they attempt to defend Lindsay, that is not the normal reaction of a mother with a missing daughter. I fully believe Lindsay wouldn't be bothered because she already knew her daughter's fate, knew she was still in Reno, and was going to be disposed of. On August 7th, Lindsay made a post to social media in the early morning hours stating that the search was being scaled back. This is rather disturbing, considering that Kiely hadn't even been reported missing until 5 p.m. the previous day. Barely 12 hours after the report was taken, the search was being scaled back? That same day, Placer County had put a search and rescue chopper in the air. It left Truckee Airfield, crossed over Podesta's neighborhood, and goes to the school. It circles a few times, banks left and heads north up Highway 89 to Hobart Mills and hooks a right, making a straight beeline for Boca. Not Prosser. By doing this, they break last known sighting search protocol. What does that say? It says they knew she wasn't at Prosser. In the beginning, the scenario that was being pushed was that Kiely had been abducted. They were telling Kiely to fight, saying, "We will find you." Lindsay gets on camera and fakes concern, telling the supposed abductor to please bring my baby back. Even Sammy, during the interview with Tony Dodge, makes statements saying Kiely had probably been abducted and that they could be anywhere in the world by now. She mentioned some scary older guys who were at the party and that maybe one of them took her. The one thing that is a major red flag to me is how Sammy tried to spin a story that we know wasn't true at all. The question is, why would she fabricate some story that was totally false? The obvious answer is that she was covering her butt, and probably Lindsay's butt too. It's very possible that Lindsay sold Kiely as a sacrifice and hired Sammy to facilitate the sale to whoever was going to sacrifice her. If you recall from what I said earlier, Sailisha Singh believed this was the case. Nobody really paid attention to what Sailisha was saying, including me. But at this point, I believe her statements have a lot of validity and she knew what she was talking about. It's very possible that Sammy Smith is involved in the trafficking trade. Both human and drug trafficking. This could very well be why she had lawyered up right away, saying she had retained a defense lawyer. This could be a potential tie to the cartels. Sammy was very dishonest from the very beginning, and her actions after Kiely was found were absolutely atrocious. It was like she was laughing about and mocking Kiely's death. It was very obvious they were not close friends like Sammy tried to portray. Reno and Carson City are well known for sex trafficking and are a Luciferian hub. They are part of a larger network and tied into the Vegas trafficking through Epstein affiliates FJ Services, Kinney Systems, Warner Brothers, and BlackRock. Lindsay and Deborah Fowler, aka Sunshine Fowler, the mother of Trinity Backus' boyfriend, both were members of the Asatru Wiccan Coven. It really makes you wonder about Trinity's death as well. Did she really die of hypothermia? My gut feeling is that she did not. The thing we have to understand is that there is true evil in the world. Satan is real, and regardless of what people involved in Asatru or Wiccan say, these movements are of Satan. There are many times no limits to what people involved in pagan religions or movements will do. While we may think that something as horrific as selling your daughter for sacrifice is unthinkable, the truth is that wickedness knows no bounds. Just what was going on in Kiely's life? What was her relationship with Lindsay? Was it a good relationship? Well, if we consider the things Lindsay wrote about Kiely in her lodge blogs, it makes one wonder. She never had anything good to say about Kiely. She talked about how difficult it was to put up with a teenager. Also, consider it from Kiely's end. Just looking at the song she wrote gives us a lot of insight into this relationship. I began to wonder, did you really ever give an F about me? 'Cause if you start to look around, you'd see these thoughts going through me. I can't get back the memories. The cuts on my wrists tell the stories the 2 times a year. I cried inside, but I cannot make a sound. I began to wonder, did you ever give an F about me? 'Cause if you stop to look around, you'd see these thoughts going through me. And I can't get back the memories. The cuts on my wrists tell the stories of the 2 times a year alone. I cried inside, but I cannot make a sound. What was it that happened 2 times a year that made her want to slit her wrists? Is it something so horrific that Lindsay feared Kiely being emancipated and leaving, possible spilling the beans on her and her practices? In the Asatru religion, they place a great deal of emphasis on the summer and winter solstices. It was 2 times a year that sacrifices were to be offered of some sort. So what was it that was used as a sacrifice those 2 times of the year? I have an idea of what it could have been. She was crying inside but couldn't make a sound. She was forced to comply without complaining, whatever it was she went through. I know that it may be a terrible thing to think, but due to some Asatru ritual or some other event, did Lindsay sell Kiely's body to be used by men? Maybe visitors who were at the lodge? Is that why they performed rituals at the sanctuary after Kiely was reported missing? To continue to suck that dark energy to gain more spiritual power? It's interesting that the weekend before the party, there was a retreat at Lost Trail Lodge for the American Alpine Club. These are people who like to travel around and go climb hills, hike, and whatever else it is that they do. I just find it interesting that this was the weekend before the next weekend that she went missing. Did something happen that triggered the events of the next weekend? Did something happen that possibly triggered the events Kiely disappeared? While I'm not accusing anybody of anything, it does make one wonder. It had to be something terrible that would trigger Kiely to start cutting her wrists. I think that deep down, we can read between the lines and see what was going on. With Kiely set to be emancipated after she turned 17 on September 1st, it's a good possibility that Lindsay went into panic mode and acted accordingly, along with Sammy's help. Lindsay and the Asatru Assembly aren't big and powerful enough to have all of the agencies in the area cover for by them. But the high-level traffickers out of Vegas are. The High Priestess and Luciferian elites are. There are many of these who live in the Truckee area and have nationwide, and even worldwide, connections. Another major oddity in this case is the presence of both FBI and Department of Homeland Security. DHS doesn't typically get involved with missing children cases, much less those without even an Amber Alert issued. When the FBI do get involved, typically it is not immediately advertised and is in an advisory position or as an additional resource and can take several days for agents to mobilize. They most likely would not have been mobilized before August 8th or 9th if she truly went missing on the 6th. Also, as stated earlier, Lindsay had posted on the morning of the 7th that the search had been scaled back. Homeland does not typically get involved with any missing child case unless it involves a politician, foreign dignitary, or involves drug and sex trafficking. They are not an agency that is used as an additional resource to local authorities. Same goes with the FBI. Usually they do not get involved unless it involves the same things I listed for Homeland, or a crime crosses state lines. When they are called into a local case, they are used as additional resources. Typically in these cases, local authorities need help gathering data and having access to the forensic labs the FBI owns. Usually there are just a handful of agents. Kiely's case had 50 agents tasked to the case and were mobilized days sooner than any other case in recent memory. This would lead one to believe that Kiely had been missing many days prior to what we've been told. And again, Homeland and FBI do not come out the same day a missing person case is filed. They do not send those type of agents, nor the number of agents they did in this case, unless it involves some big fish or human, arms or drug trafficking. There is so much more information I have that I have not yet shared. This goes very, very deep. In fact, so deep that it's scary. I need to carefully evaluate what else I can share, but we will definitely follow up on this video and reveal some other things that might make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. I hope this video has been informative and helpful. Please keep praying that the truth will be revealed and the people responsible will face the appropriate consequences. Justice for Kiely.